Hey, I'm Jesse Hunt with Unofficial. We're a web design and digital marketing agency located in downtown Memphis. Since 2002, I've been helping Mid-South businesses just like yours improve their websites and find more customers on the internet. Today, I'm going to perform a video website audit on your website that'll show you some areas for improvement that might be hurting your business. The entire audit will take 15 to 20 minutes and should leave you substantially more informed about what's working and what's not working so well on your website. I hope you'll find the audit informative and that you'll keep me in mind if you ever need some help working on your existing website or building a new one. Thanks a lot for watching. Let's get started.
Hey Jessica, hey Paul, here we are on the homepage of your website. As you can see, we're at www.LLWarchitects.com, and what I'd like to do here is I'm going to scroll through your website. I'm going to click on some of the pages, talk about the things that I'm seeing, give you a little feedback about things that I think you might be able to improve on here on your website. Then we'll click over and look at a few tools that Google provides and see what Google tells us about your website. We'll look at a few Google search results and see how you're doing in the search engine rankings. And then we'll come back and look at a couple tools that I've got installed here on my computer and get a better understanding of what's happening behind the scenes of your website. So when I land on your website, the first thing that I notice is this big picture here that scrolls through images of what I presume are hotels that you guys architected. So I think that picture's nice. I think it does a good job at kind of demonstrating the type of work that you do. So good job there. The other thing that I noticed is you've got a big bold phone number up here in the header along with your address information and your logo. I think that's wonderful. I always recommend putting contact information at the header of the website to make it easy for people to contact you when they're ready to make contact, to make it easy for them to find your contact information without an additional click to your Contact Us page or what have you. I do have one concern with both your logo and your contact information in your header. So when I try to highlight the text, so if I see I click and drag, I'm trying to highlight the text here where it says Welcome to LLW Architects, Inc. And when I do, rather than highlighting, it clicks it and drags it around. What that tells me is this is an image rather than actual text on the website. Same thing over here. When I click on your phone number and I try to drag, you notice the phone number and the address, they rather than highlighting it, it drags it around, again indicating that that is not actually text on the website, but rather an image. And the reason that that's significant to me and that I'm concerned about that is that Google doesn't understand pictures like that. Google understands text. So if search engine rankings and showing up in the search engine rankings are important, we want to make sure that Google can see your business name and your contact information on every single page. Google, especially here recently, has really put a lot more value in having a consistent, they've got there's an acronym for it in our industry. It's NAP, N-A-P. It stands for name, address, and phone number. And Google wants to see that your contact info, your NAP, is consistent on your website, on your Google local listing, and across all of the other websites on the internet that mention your business. So, Yellow Pages directories, Better Business Bureau, any industry websites that link to you, that kind of thing. So Google can't really understand this information. Well, that prompted me to go see what exactly is the information that Google has for you, and that's my next area of concern. So what I did here, I went to Google, I typed LLW Architects Memphis, and it's great that your website shows up here in the organic listings, but what we really want to see is a big map result over here where Google tells us, where you're located, maybe some reviews and things like that, and that doesn't happen here. That indicates that you probably don't have a map listing. In fact, if we click on Maps now, and as soon as it loads, once it loads, you're not over here. There's no listing for you. Google doesn't have a local listing for your business. I'd highly recommend creating that. I noticed from your portfolio, now a lot of your business isn't in Memphis, so Memphis optimization probably isn't your biggest priority, but I just think that it makes sense to have a local listing for your business. To me, it's just good practice. So I would recommend creating a Google listing and then making sure that it's consistent with the information that's on your website. And when I say consistent, I mean perfectly consistent. So when you want to make sure that what's on your website, 803 Mount Moriah Road, RD, you want to make sure that this matches the Google listing, and Google's going to write your address the way they want to. So if they say Road RD, perfect. If they say Road ROAD, I would make your website say the same thing. But in order to make your website match it, this really needs to be actual text rather than an image. So I would recommend making this actual text on the website. Next thing I noticed, I scrolled down. I like the portfolio pictures down here. I think that's great. I like that you can click on them to go to additional information. Well, I said you can. There we go. So I like that you can go here and see additional information about the project. I think that's good. Go back. One thing I noticed earlier, when I come up here to your header, so I'm going to open these in a separate tab. I click on Twitter to open that in another tab, click in Facebook to open that in another tab, and then we'll look at it. So Twitter opens up properly, says you've got 27 followers, 55 likes, so not really using Twitter a whole lot apparently. But what concerns me is the Facebook didn't actually open. It took us to www.LLWarchitects.com/#. What that indicates is whoever built your website, when they built it, they just, I guess they didn't have a Facebook link for you. And so it's pretty common in our industry to use a hashtag whenever you're linking to something that doesn't exist yet, or if you don't have the address, to use the hashtag, and it'll just make you stay on the same page if you click on it. But generally you come back and you replace those with real links, and it doesn't appear that ever happened. So I would definitely fix that or remove the Facebook icon, one or the other. As we click through the other pages here, as I went through this earlier, my biggest concern on all these pages is lack of text. This page probably has more text than most pages on your website. If we go to master planning, I mean, without counting this, if I had to guess, I'd say this is maybe 50 words of text, maybe. Google really likes text. Google likes lots of content. And so I would recommend one, adding more pictures here to make this more visually interesting, but more importantly, from a search engine standpoint, is creating longer form text. Break it up with images so it's not overwhelming, but put 500 words of text on these pages. Put at least 300 words of text. Give Google more information about what it is that you're doing and what that page is about, and Google will reward you with better search engine rankings and more traffic to your website. Obviously, more traffic to your website equals more leads. Ultimately, more leads equals more business, more return on investment from your website. So I'd recommend fleshing out all these pages. I mean, site planning, you can see similar amount of content, very short. Schematic design development, they're all very short on content. I would definitely recommend trying to flesh that out and get more content on the website. Contact us. This page looks okay. I think that's the bulk of my input of the things on your website here. I think these look pretty good. The home, I noticed. Let's go to the home suites here. I noticed a minute ago when I was here, this seems a little funny. I call this breadcrumb navigation, where you it shows the trail of where you're at. And so it's home, and then home to, and then home to suites, Querétaro, Mexico. Sorry if I said that wrong. My Spanish is no bueno. Anyway, home to seems really funny to me. I gather that it's home to because that's the client, not as in like a home to is in a page on your website. But when I click on it and it carries me here, once it loads, it says no results found. I think the easy solution to that is just get rid of this breadcrumb navigation and problem solved. So that's how I'd recommend fixing that. All right, next thing. So what I did here, this is a tool that Google provides to website developers. It's called the Mobile Friendly Test. And Google wants to see that your website is mobile friendly. They want to see that it's easy to use on an iPhone, an iPad, an Android device. These days, most of the websites I manage, I see anywhere from 30% of the traffic to 90% of the traffic coming from mobile devices. So much of the traffic on the internet these days is mobile traffic. Google wants to ensure that when they send somebody to your website on a mobile device, that person's going to have a good experience on your website. As you can see, Google says your website is not mobile friendly. Now that could be hurting your search engine rankings for sure. Google says that your text is too small to read, your mobile viewport's not set, which basically means that your website doesn't define the proper display size for mobile devices. The links are too close together. In other words, it's too easy to click the wrong link whenever you're trying to click a button on your site, and that the content is wider than the screen. Now, you may look at this and go, well, if I was on my iPhone, I'd just pinch on the screen and zoom in. Google doesn't want mobile visitors to have to pinch and zoom in order to view stuff. They want the website to respond to the size of the device and show an optimized experience without having to do that. So I would definitely recommend updating updating your website to make it mobile friendly. It'll improve the user experience, and it will definitely improve your search engine rankings, especially when people are using mobile devices. All right, we'll close that. Next thing I did here, I tried to put myself in the shoes of somebody that might be looking for your services if they don't already know about you. And I'd love to talk to you and get a better understanding for how people find out about you in the first place. But I would assume that it's plausible that somebody might be looking for an architect to create plans for a hotel for them. And if that were the case, what would that person type into the search engines? So first thing that came to mind was hotel architects. And as we scroll down the page, you do come up at the bottom of the first page. Now, potentially that's because you're local and I'm in Memphis and it's showing me your website because we're both in Memphis, or maybe you're showing up globally, worldwide at the bottom of the first page for hotel architects. If that's the case, that's really good. But I'd love to see you in the first 3 spots because the traffic that you'll get from the first 3 is so much more than what you'd get from being in spot number 10 here. Next thing here, I searched hospitality architects, and as we scroll down, you're coming up in looks like the number 5 position below this special content block they put up here. Again, could be because we're both in Memphis, maybe not. Can't really say without doing additional research, but that's a pretty good ranking. I'm pretty pleased with that. Next, I searched architects for hospitality industry. And as I scroll through here, you're not showing up at all on the first page. So some of the things I think that we need to do in order to improve some of these search engine rankings is, one, identify the keywords that we think people would be looking for. But then from there, we need to incorporate more of those keywords into your website. I talked about adding more content to your website. Well, when we add that content, we need to say, okay, these are the keywords that we want to show up for. How can we fit this into this content without it sounding really stupid? We want it to sound totally natural, but we want to use keywords that describe your business in that content that we create. Here I did architects for hotels. Scroll through the first page here, not showing up at all on the first page. Really no point in clicking through to a second page because most visitors aren't going to do that. So I don't see much point in talking too much about that. So we'll close that. Come back over here to your website. I'm going to go back to your home page. I've got a little utility installed here on my browser. This is called the Google Tag Assistant. Basically, it scans the code on your website looking for Google tags. As you can see, it shows 0 tags installed. Specifically, I was hoping to find a tag called Google Analytics. Google Analytics tracks the visitors to your website. It tells you how many visitors you're getting, where they're coming from, so what websites are sending them. Is Google sending them Bing, Facebook, Twitter, industry association type websites? And then what do they do once they get on your website? Do they land on the homepage and immediately leave? Or do they click through, look at your portfolio, and ultimately go to your Contact Us page and get in touch with you? That information is really useful in order to be able to determine, is your website a good marketing tool for the business? And is it generating a good return on investment? I would highly recommend installing Google Analytics. It's free software. You need somebody that knows a little bit about HTML in order to install it. But it's really pretty straightforward, and it definitely gives you some information to have a better understanding of how well your website's working for you. One more thing I want to look at here. I've got a tool installed on my browser called SEO Quake, and this is the Page SEO Audit, so Page Search Engine Optimization Audit. It scans the code, breaks down all the things that were done to make your website rank well in the search engines or not, and makes it where it's easy to display and for me to describe to you. So the first thing I want to look at is your title tag. Now, if we come back to your website and look up here at the top of the screen, these tabs, if I hover over it, it'll drop down a little menu that tells us what your title tag is. LLW Architects, specializing in hospitality architecture. That's where your browser displays a title tag. In the search engine results, if we scroll back down here to the bottom of the page to your listing, right here at the top of the search engine listing, the text that displays in blue, that's your title tag. That's where Google puts your title tag. In my opinion, the title tag is the most important place on a website to use your keywords if you want to rank in the search engines for those keywords. Now, your title tag is LLW Architects, specializing in hospitality architecture. It's not bad, but I think with some work, you could have a title tag that includes additional keywords and helps get you better search engine rankings. I generally tell people to shoot for about 70 characters in their title tag. So 57 characters, you've got a few characters to spare there, where if we work wisely with this, we could probably improve this title tag. I'd recommend using different keywords on every page of your website, having a different title tag on every page. Next up here is mated description. It shows that you don't have a mated description. If we come back to your search engine listing, we talked about this being your title tag. Below it, you've got your website address, and then below that, there's a description of your website. Now, when you have a mated description, sorry, I'm trying to highlight it to show you what I'm talking about. This right here. When you have a mated description present on your website, Google will generally display that mated description right here. Now, the mated description doesn't really help you to improve your search engine rankings. However, having a really compelling mated description can encourage people to click your website instead of the competitors' websites that appear around you in the search results. So having a really compelling mated description could mean the difference between you getting a new customer or your competitor getting a new customer. I would definitely recommend adding a mated description to every page of your website and making sure that it's succinct and as compelling as possible. Tell people why they should choose you instead of your competition. Tell them why they should click your website instead of somebody else's. Meta keywords, you don't have any on your website. I'm not too worried about that. Google doesn't really look at that anymore anyway. Headings. So a heading is usually a big bold section of text above a content block or above a section of text. So like this who we are, I would expect to be a heading. We'll see if I'm right here in just a second. Second to title tags, headings are probably the second most important place on a website that you want to see your keywords. So if you want to rank for a particular keyword, you want it to be in your title tag and in your headings. So here's the list of keywords that you've got. Yeah, here's the who we are that I mentioned a minute ago. It's an H3. Headings are broken down. There's 6 levels of headings: H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. H1s are usually bolder, bigger text. H6s are smaller, less bold text. But it's really not supposed to be used for text formatting so much as to label the importance of an item on the page. Interestingly, your website has no H1s, but it has 5 H2s. Technically speaking, on a website, you should never have an H2 before an H1. Now, the average website visitor will never notice that. It doesn't break the website, but it is incorrect from a technical standpoint. Google notices and could potentially affect your search engine rankings. My recommendation would be get some H1s on here and make sure that you use your keywords in them. That'll help you with your search engine rankings. As we scroll down, text to HTML ratio, 19.89%, not bad, but they suggest adding more text to your website. I agree. We've talked about that a little bit already. Further down the page, XML sitemaps. Your website does not have an XML sitemap. So basically an XML sitemap is a document on your website intended for the search engines that tells exactly what pages you have, tells the search engines exactly where to find them, and when the last time they were updated. I recommend adding an XML sitemap. Make sure that the search engines know about all of your pages and that it alerts the search engines whenever the page is updated. That could help your search engine rankings as well. Only other thing I see here worth talking about is Google Analytics, and I've already talked about the importance of that, so I won't beat on that horse anymore, but I recommend installing it. You know, overall, I think you've got some things right on the website. I think there are some things that could definitely be improved. Overall, I feel like the website looks maybe a tad dated. I'm not even sure that I can put my thumb on exactly why I say that, except maybe for the fact that you've got the big open space here on the sides where the width of the website is defined as a specific size, and that it's not mobile friendly. Those things are indications that the website's kind of older. I don't know when your website was built. I'm sure you could tell me that, but you know, I recommend certainly changing some of the things that I've talked about here in the video. So I'm gonna stop right there. I don't want to take up too much of your time, Jessica and Paul. I appreciate y'all taking the time to watch the video. I hope that it's been informative. I hope this was useful to you. My goal is to be a resource for you, to help you better understand your website and how it affects your business, how it works as a marketing tool for your business. Ultimately, I want to earn your trust and earn an opportunity to work with you. If you need some help correcting some of the issues that I've pointed out in this video, if you have other ideas for the website that you'd like to discuss, need some help implementing those, I would absolutely love to have an opportunity to be your go-to website guy. So thanks a lot for watching. I'm going to send this video over to you in just a few minutes, and then I'll follow up with you in a few days to make sure that you received it, see if you have any questions, and see if there's anything that I can help you with. So I appreciate your time, and I look forward to talking to you real soon. Have a great day.